Okay, you have your NFL Week 2 predictions. So filming this after the Sunday Night Football game, so I don't know the Monday Night Football game result yet. But your first game, the Jaguars versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs did not look good on the opening day versus the Lions. Obviously, Kelsey was not playing, but their skill position players, the wide receiver, tight ends just did not look good. However, the Chiefs defense did look good. While the Jaguars, their first game against the Colts, their defense could have definitely done better, but their offense, Calvin Ridley was rolling, ETN was rolling, Lawrence was rolling. This is going to be a good game. But I think with Kelsey back, I gotta take the Chiefs here. Then you have week 2 Ravens versus the Bengals. Bengals just looked horrible versus the Browns. Burrow looked horrible. Their defense did all right, but definitely was not the best. The offense was so bad. The offensive line got dominated, and Burrow couldn't do anything. While the Ravens against the Texans, Ravens definitely struggled in the first half. Their offense was sleepwalking through the first half. Second half, they did better, but their offense definitely looked sluggish in week 1. Their defense looked really good, though. Bengals, I'm not sure if I can trust their offense again, but I'm going to. I think the Bengals bounce back. I'm taking the Bengals here. Then you have the Raiders versus the Bills. Bills haven't played yet. They play on Monday night. While the Raiders, they beat the Broncos impressively. Jimmy G had a good game. Their offense looked good, not great. Their defense also looked pretty good, even though Russell Wilson had a pretty good game. But the Bills, I think they have so much talent. Their defense, Tre'Davious White should be healthy. Their safeties and linebacker should be healthy, and Josh Allen. I just don't think the Raiders defense can contain Josh Allen, so I'm taking the Bills here. Then you have the Chargers versus the Titans. Chargers come off a loss against the Dolphins, while the Titans coming off a close loss versus the Saints. Titans against the Saints. Tannehill looked horrible versus the Saints. Really, I'm not sure how they stayed in the game. Tannehill was not good versus the Saints. But the Titans defense did really good against Derek Carr-led Saints offense. While the Chargers, their running game looked great. But the Titans usually do well against the running game. Herbert was efficient, but their defense though needs work. But I don't see um, but the Chargers' run defense looked better, and I don't see the Titans throwing to win this game. So I'm taking the Chargers here. Then you have the Colts versus the Texans. Rookies against each other. They both look decent. Both C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson, both coming off losses against the Ravens and um, Jacksonville. Both the Texans defense look good, while the Colts are not. So I'm taking the Texans here. Okay, then you have the Dolphins versus the Patriots. Dolphins come off a win against the Chargers. Patriots come off a close loss versus the Eagles. Patriots defense, I think, did a lot better than I thought they would. They managed to contain the Eagles' great offense, while the Patriots offense did respectable against a very good Eagles defense. The Dolphins, though, they were electric versus the Chargers. Their offense too looked great, um, and their defense could definitely. The Dolphins defense was not good versus the Chargers. However, their run defense let up a ton of running yards, and their passing, they couldn't force Herbert to make any mistakes. Um, Patriots do have a good defense, but I think Miami's offense is just too good right now, and Tua has never lost to the Patriots. I'm taking the Dolphins here. Then you have the Steelers versus the Browns. Steelers just they laid an egg against the Niners. They could not get their offense going. Their defense got dominated. While the Browns was on the opposite spectrum, blowing out the Bengals. Their defense did great. Their offense was good. It is a divisional game, so hard to predict. Both teams do have talent, and I'm taking the Steelers here because they usually do well against the Browns. Then you have the Cowboys versus the Jets. I have not seen the Jets play, but getting Aaron Rodgers, their defense is still great with guys like Quinnen Williams, Gardner, and their offensive line. I'm not sure how that will do, but the Cowboys they just dominate. They just dominated the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Um, they caused so many fumbles. I just think the Dallas defense will be too much for that Jets offensive line to handle. So I'm taking the Cowboys here. Then you have the Commanders versus the uh, Broncos. Both these offenses did not do well last week. Commanders did win over the Cardinals, while the Broncos lost to the Raiders. Russell Wilson did well-ish for the Broncos, but they just couldn't score any points, while the Broncos defense did their jobs for the most part. Commanders, their defense did the job for the most part. Arizona's offense looked horrible, but their offense could not get started. And Cardinals just aren't a good defense, so I'm taking the Broncos here, especially since the Broncos have home field advantage. Then you have Thursday night Eagles versus Vikings. Vikings lost to the Buccaneers. I didn't see much of that game, but it looks like the Vikings couldn't even stop a Baker Mayfield led Buck team, while the Eagles, they did struggle a little bit versus the Patriots, but I still think they have the talent, so I'm taking the Eagles here. Then you have the Bears versus the Bucks. The Bears really did not look good. Justin Fields didn't really improve that much, and their defense pretty much got dominated by Jordan Love. While the Buccaneers had a good game, Mayfield had a good game. Their offense looked respectable against the Vikings, and I don't see the Bears as much of that improvement over the Vikings. I see the Bucks winning this. Then you have the Packers versus the Falcons, both coming off wins. Falcons over the Panthers, while the Packers over the Bears. Jordan Love looked good against a not great Bears defense, and the Packers defense did their jobs. Similarly, Falcons, both their offense and defense got it done. I think this one's going to be a close game, but I'm taking the team that can pass. So I'm taking the Packers here. Then you have the Lions versus Seahawks. Seahawks somehow lost to the Rams. Um, their defense could not contain the Rams' run game, and their offense just could never really get it going. While the Lions, they're coming off a win against the Chiefs, their defense, surprisingly to me, looked really good, and I think they can shut down the Seahawks. Um, and I think Lions, their offense, if they fix some of those inconsistencies, I see the Lions winning. And then you have the Rams versus the Niners. The Rams coming off a win against the Seahawks, while the Niners completely dominating the Steelers. I thought Steelers were a good team, so I respect that domination. Brock Purdy looked good. Their whole defense, especially for Fred Warner, looked great for the Niners. While the Rams, their running game, Stafford looked good. Stafford looked like he rejuvenated, and the wide receivers looked good. This is a divisional game, so it's going to be close. But I think and Rams have found success versus the Niners. But I think the Niners just too talented. Then you have the Giants versus the Cardinals. Cardinals, they did play a good game versus the Commanders, and their defense looks pretty good, but their offense is dumpster fire. While the Giants, they just got absolutely dominated by the Cowboys. They had so many mistakes, so many big turnovers. But these, I don't know what to think of this game. I'm gonna give it to the Giants still, just because I think they have a better coach. Then you have the Panthers versus the Saints on a Monday nighter. Saints, I thought their offense would look better. Their defense played fine. They shut down Ryan Tannehill, but their offense was kind of inconsistent. Never really got things going. Um, while the Panthers, similarly, they had their moments, but could never really find their rhythm. These teams, they are divisional rivals. They're hard to predict, but I think with Saints having Carr just a more experienced team, I'm taking the Saints here. So there you have them, NFL Week 2 predictions.